Welcome back to my table, folks. I love that opening clip just because, man, it is a mosh pit out there, folks. Literally insane. Uh, Number one. Number two, you notice how his momentum started slowing down? And he wanted it. He kept on pushing and pumping to get up on that wave so he can keep on going. And that's exactly what I'm doing right here, right now. But sorry to keep on bringing this up. It's just accruing in the greatest state of Ohio. And I fell onto these guys. This Barron guy that is a local, he's pretty much spot on. Probably got one of the best hearts in a situation like this that I've seen so far. And he's very knowledgeable because he actually does his due diligence in a non-biased way to try to understand what actually is accruing. So by all means, folks, hop on in.
And nothing good can come from those cats coming to town. No more than when the Ku Klux Klan printed their stuff up that was Springfield specific. And I don't even want to name the groups, but you were here, Doug, when it was all going on. And Springfield is a tinderbox. I keep saying this over and over and over and over again. Springfield is a tinderbox right now. I mean, very, very, very much a tinderbox. And we got all these outside people throwing matches, man, not really giving a crap where they land. And it's going to cost our city. And then on top of that, I have a city manager that my tax, not mine, not just mine, but our city tax dollars pay for this guy. This guy makes more than the governor of the state of Ohio. Think about that for a second. And I haven't seen him one time. He's paid to manage the city. Manage the city. And if you can't manage the city, go away. Get somebody in here who can manage the city, who can give us the answers, and understands that he works for us. Right. He works for us. We don't work for him. And I think that's the problem. I basically think, to wrap it all up in a nutshell, is the good old boy system that they had here forever. Not just in my town, it's in your town too. It's getting busted up. This ain't 1966. Now we have this thing that we're communicating on right now, and communication is instantaneous. If you need to get word to me from Missouri to me, you can literally pick a phone up and boom, I'm there. Oh, wait a minute. It's even better. This is the stuff that, I seen when I was a kid, man. You're not talking into a shoe, but this is serious stuff. The Dick Tracy watch, that's a real thing now, man. I've seen them. Get your email. And my point is, in 2024, I don't think that, I think more because we have more people on the planet, but I think we've always had pedophilias or pedophiles and pedophilia. I just think now it's getting reported a lot more. There's a lot more technology, and it is not working out well for the bad guys, in that aspect. In so much as you can go online and blah, 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 and get Social Security.
All right. I know for a fact that the pedophilia thing is being addressed just way too slow. And because of all this fake stuff Dick Tracy watches in the computer stuff, I know for a fact if we had good leadership, they could round up 90% of all them pedophiles out there, and I'm talking to you if you are one. I want to participate in helping to catch you. And I know for a fact in the greatest state of Ohio, that one issue, pedophilia, is we are the one state that trafficked the most of these kids all around the world through our state. Now, you guys might not, you don't want to believe it. You might just want to look the other way, like, why you worry yourself about that stuff, Mark? It's not happening to you. Well, God forbid somebody actually has a good heart and cares about the kids, not only in my state, but all around the world that has to go through this thing. Breaks my heart. And that's why I make it a point to talk about it. Now, one thing I want to reference to what this gentleman said was the good old boy club. I have my experiences with that. I grew up in a time to where when I graduated high school, I didn't have to go to college. I was like, bump all that. I hated high school. I'll just get a job, do the best job I can at it, and move up within that system, business, whatever you want to call it. Unfortunately enough, the only way you could get a good job in my hometown, hell, back then we had AK Steel, very good company, and we had General Motors, biggest stamping plant in the Midwest, something I could be proud about. Both of those companies pretty much are shut down in my state. I was unfortunate enough to watch them slip through my fingers. You know, the good jobs where you could work hard and move up the totem pole. And if I was your representative, actually, that is one of the biggest things I would bring back to our country, so that way our children could have that same opportunity that is not there no more. Back when I graduated high school, when I was talking to the folks that actually worked at AK Steel, except AK Steel shortly after that went on strike, hence closed down, they all told me the same thing. Don't even waste your time unless you know somebody that's working there. Now, because I didn't personally know anybody that worked there, not in my family or whatever, and the ones that did work there didn't offer for me to put their name down on a resume, I was like, okay, which is fine, because at the end of the day, they shut down anyway. And where I come from, you don't want to be a scab. They'll blow your car up. Literally. is what I heard a whole bunch of them on strike laughing about when the scabs came in to close it down. So, whatever, living life, working in the restaurant business, ended up my first factory, Mansfield Plumbing. 9/11 happened where I felt the same type of hate. Had to actually deal with it firsthand, face to face, folks. Something that, if you watch my other video, Vivek has no clue about, because it never happened to him and he never had to see it. I ended up going to college so that way I could get, once again, a good job that I hopefully could move up in. My goal, actually, I went to college, applied science, drafting and design is a specific, but it was the last year that the course that I took, my degree, actually ran. So they literally taught me how to do what you would call, what is it? Engineering processes. So I didn't just get taught a specific part of engineering for factories. I was taught a broad spectrum of all of it. But it was the last year that they actually offered that course. They changed it to something more specific. Whatever. Graduated in 2007. Had the opportunity, my main instructor, after a solid 3 years of talking to him, asking him, why are you teaching us instead of actually in the field making $250,000 a year? He ended up offering me a job because he chose to go get one of them jobs. He offered me a job. But what the job was to design nuclear power plants in China. Now, at that juncture, I was learning how to still not hate. But at the end of the day, the rhetoric that I hear all my fellow citizens around me, they're like, oh, it's China's fault. China took all our jobs. And I'm like, but hold on a minute. Did the business owners take the job to China? So it's not the Chinese people's fault. It's the business owners' fault, isn't it? They're like, nah, China. And I was like, yeah, China, right? Blame them. So I didn't take that job. Because I'm like, I don't want to design nuclear power plants in China. I want to be able to design nuclear power plants in America. Big mistake. That, in my lifetime, was probably one of the biggest mistakes I made through my life. I should have took that good job. Because regardless, the nuclear power plants being built in China, our jobs kept on shifting to China, not because the Chinese people took them. Because the American businesses, thanks to Bill Clinton and NAFTA, took their business over there. They said, we're not worthy to have them good jobs. So that's the one thing about the Good Old Boy Club. My personal experience, God forbid. So anyway, graduated in 2007. I wanted to go work at General Motors. I had the opportunity to see Obama come to Mansfield, Ohio, tell me how he saved General Motors. And I voted for him his first election. I'm like, awesome. I'm going to graduate college. I'm going to go get that good job where I could start off here and work my way up. Not but 6 months after that, the biggest stamping plant for General Motors in the Midwest shut down in my hometown that I grew up and loved. So I'm like, well, hell, Mark, what you gonna do? So I left. I moved away, chasing jobs, trying to get away from what I knew was just a state. They call us the Rust Belt now, because all those factories are all rusted and falling down. Now, I hope you got something from that. I'm trying to show you folks why I would be a better candidate than shit or shittier. Because I've lived these issues. Now, there is another video. Oh, so let me go ahead and show you this. Because if you haven't seen it, this is what these Democrats and Republicans do.
I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
In jeopardy.
So let's listen to this guy's take a little bit.
But it hasn't been. They're pretty much blowing her off as a disgruntled employee now, and her sister worked there part seasonally, and they won't even talk to her. Her sister has a food truck that used to set up in front of the Rural King. Ain't happening now. Her father buys feed for his livestock and dog food and things like that there, and went back like completely ostracizing the guy. They won't even speak to him. He knew them all, and it's just unbelievable. And then we have the people who just flat out say she's a liar. It didn't happen. What did she have to gain in making that story up?
Well, and there's a lot of misunderstandings about lots of FFA dealers are getting on the comments and saying she can't sell to illegals. That's crazy. And the argument is these aren't illegals. These aren't people that snuck across the river. These are people that we flew here and gave temporary protected status that essentially makes them a resident alien.
Facts, folks. Sorry if they hurt your feelings, Ohioans. Facts. And at the end of the day, it's getting terrible for these immigrants that are allowed to be here. So terrible because they're talking about guns if you didn't understand the FFA part. It's got so terrible for them folks. They feel that they need guns to protect their self.
And gives them, they don't get to vote, but
they have the right to protect themselves.
Yeah, some of the comments are like, "Oh, the Constitution doesn't apply to illegals." I'm like, "Yeah, we Mirandize them. They have."
Good luck with that opinion, folks. Sorry, facts supersede your feelings.
Have a expectation that they're innocent until proven guilty. The Constitution does apply in a whole bunch of ways to whoever's here. That's sort of a nonsense argument. But
don't get on the train if you don't want to go to Boston.
Yeah, there's a lot of misunderstanding about nobody sold guns to illegals. This is the nuanced problem here, is whether or not temporary protected status allows them to buy guns, and most everybody is saying it does if they fill the forms out right. We talked to another person that worked at a gun store that didn't want to go on camera, but it wasn't off the record, but they didn't want to go on camera, that said 4 or 5 times a day there's Haitians coming into the store trying to buy guns, but most of them don't speak enough English to even fill out the paperwork. But it certainly is happening, but it's not a matter of selling to illegals. That I just wanted to try to clarify.
And just so we know, it's not some curious guy, like I would be if I went to the Swiss Alps and watched them make Ricola cough drops. You know what I mean? Oh, what's that? I get it. They've never seen in the country where they come from. You can't walk in a store and just buy a gun. I mean, if so, they might not be having the problems they have down there now.
All right. Yes, Springfield is a tinderbox, folks. It definitely is about ready to spark. But that's not the only place. When I look at these institutional issues, every one of them, whether it be the pedophilia or the migrants or whatever part of dysfunction is in our system, society, school system, I know that there's about 25% of all of us that are busting our butts trying to fix it, whichever issue you're addressing. I know that there's about 50% of everybody around, at least in Ohio. I've been running my own numbers and I've been going out meeting people. All I truly think I need to get to win this election is to convince you folks through my Facebook, my friends, to like and share, and then make my channel bigger, even if you disagree with me. You're still like, well, I knew this guy to be a good guy because I haven't been a bad guy to nobody. It's hard work nowadays. Sorry if being honest is bad to you. But There's the other 25% of our population that are just terrible. The 50% of folks just look the other way. Why you bother yourself with that, Mark? And they don't do anything. They just sit and they wait. And then you got the bottom part. The 25% of terrible people that live amongst you. That are helping light the match for that tinderbox. The good people are trying to be able to fix the problem. The biggest majority, the 50%, look the other way, sit on the sidelines, and watch the terrible people sparking fires. We need, as the 50% of good people, you need to stop sitting on the sidelines. Make your voice heard too. Because at the end of the day, this tension, these issues, all of them, they're getting super bad. And it breaks my heart watching not only my local town that I grew up in turning into a ghetto, my state doing things that most of us feel don't like, and my government, which is my federal government, which is the biggest empire ever perpetrated on the planet. All you have to do is admit that we police the whole world with our military. I don't want my country to fall apart. I hope you don't either. Like, share, subscribe. Hope you got something from this. Together, if we work together, we can actually elect good folks that want to do what's right for everybody, not just a couple. Good luck to all. Teach their own. Hope you got something from this.